Run. It's going.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Patty,
It looks like we are just missing Laura Harris, and I believe Tim Kirsch is going to join, although with Denny here, you would have the requisite number of board members you need.
Laura's here. Laura Harris is here.
Oh, great. There's Tim.
hey, Tim.
And Chair, I think you have everyone here that you need.
Are you speaking to me or to Tim?
Yes, no, to you, our Budget Committee Chair.
Okay,
Um,
all right. Sorry, I didn't quite know who you were speaking to. All right,
Sorry,
well,
sorry.
thank you everyone for joining us today. This is the fiscal year 23-24 North Santiam Sewer Authority Budget Committee meeting, the first one. I'd like to thank our constituents who've joined us. I'm thinking that's Molly, Tracy, and Laura. Thank you for committing your time to this. We appreciate it. So at 12:06, I call the North Santiam Sewer Authority Budget Committee meeting to order. Laura Conroy will present our proposed budget. The budget is available on the NSSA website underneath the Documents tab. If you didn't get a link to it, there's a nice document there presented by the COG. So Laura, take it away.
Good morning or afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending. First and foremost, does everyone have a copy of the proposed budget? I will also share screen, but it's helpful. I want to make sure everyone received that ahead of time.
I don't. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yep. Let me get that over to you real quick. Amber, can you help me?
Sure, what can I help with?
Can you send a copy of the budget to Ron Evans and I'll put his email in the chat for you. It will be tricky for me to close this document and then email it to him as well so that I can attach it. Here's his email. Thank you. Okay, so I thought it might be helpful to go through just a quick bit about the budget process first. This information was provided to the board and to the committee ahead of time, but I'll just go through it real quick. So typically staff prepares the draft budget between December and April. Then notices that are legally required are published in the newsletter, on the website, and the social media with key dates and opportunity for public input. And those have to be published twice, 10 days before the meeting, and that has occurred for this meeting. The proposed budget document has to be available and posted online, which has occurred. Then we have to have this committee meeting where we provide this orientation that I'm giving you right now. And the budget message, and then we would, if the committee is comfortable, recommend that this proposed budget be forwarded to the full board for review. And if not, then we would have to set a time for another meeting, or the board can make adjustments now, or this committee can make adjustments now. We do need to have the board adopt a budget prior to July 1st. And so just minding our timelines, the way that will work best is if this committee is able to recommend a proposed budget to the board for the board to review and adopt on June 26th. Let's see. Of course, after the board adopts the budget if it adopts the budget next 2 Mondays from now, June 26th. Subsequently, the board may, of course, make amendments to the budget for reasons unforeseen at time of the adoption. So we do have that flexibility. Any questions about the process? Okay, then we'll go into the budget document. So the budget as defined by Oregon law is a financial plan containing statements of, or estimates of revenues and requirements for a single fiscal year, in this case, 2023, 2024. We operate on a fiscal year of July 1st and ending June 30th. So this budget has been prepared with that timeline in mind. And it'll describe how we expect to meet the needs of our members going forward. And to prepare this document, staff looked at financial reports that were provided to the board by previous treasurers, and also looking at expenditures that we expect this board to reincur for the 2023-2024 year. I am now going to share screen. Let's see. Oh, Tess, are you able to let me share screen? And I'll take you through the budget, the proposed budget.
Where would I find them? Help me.
If you go to the bottom of your screen, you should have a share and then a button. There you go.
Well, we're now viewing Tess
Yeah.
to share screen. So maybe Tess can
Well,
stop.
Yeah,
And Amber, what's happened, it's just been disabled for participant screen sharing. Thanks everyone for your patience. I was forewarned this morning that Mayor Kirsch that we might be joined by some junior citizens, his grandchildren. So I suspect that's who we hear in the background.
That is who you are, and just shoot them into the other room, so hopefully they'll stay in there.
okay, I said multiples and it's not clicking up.
Okay.
Can you
Okay.
convert Laura to the host, perhaps?
Okay, so, hang on, let me see, I'm pulling it up. Okay, Laura, you are host. You
Okay.
should be able to do it now.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tess. All right. Can everyone see? Okay. And if the chair can let me know if everyone can see, that's helpful, because when I'm sharing screen, I can't see the visual cues of people nodding.
I can see it. Can I make a comment?
Yes, of course.
So, in the past, for our citizens on this committee, we have mainly done expenditures. We had a fund of $25,000 in the very beginning when the sewer authority started. And then last year, after the budget time frame closed, we were given $150,000 by Marion County. So we produced a budget, but you don't see it here because it was never adopted. So we slotted things into expenditures, and as a board of directors, we approved that mainly because we needed it as part of a process to some of the other administrative tasks that we had. So we have had budgets and expenditures as far back as 2021. It's just never been in approved budgets. Therefore, they're not in the document. I hope I didn't steal your thunder there, Laura.
No, sir. No, that was a beautiful segue. I was going to explain that. So thank you. So, well, that takes care of that. And so we can focus on 23-24. So your beginning fund balance, and this is our estimate, and we did round, you'll see, which is the amount that you have in your checking account, is expected to be $138,000 beginning July 1st. We expect that you will expend $69,000 for managerial expenses through your contract with the COG. You will, as a public agency, be required to go through an audit. And we expect the cost of your audit to run about $12,000. This board may be, have some legal questions in the future. And so we included about a $5,000 budget there. Again, if you don't expend it, that's okay. We just put it there because the funds have to be allocated. You do have other professional and technical expenses. This is everything from your Zoom account to your web hosting, your CIS insurance, other things like that. Your membership dues for the COG. So that makes up the $2,500. So we are expecting total general fund expenditures for 23-24 to be around $88,500. By law and by your policies, you are required to have a contingency. The required amount of contingency is this amount, 22,125. And it's in this document, but I believe it's an estimate of your actual expenditures for 3 months. And Amber's nodding, so I've got that right. So moving forward, that leaves you with 27,375 in reserves for total budgeted expenditures of 138. And here again, you'll want to make sure that the total budgeted expenditures is equal to your beginning fund balance, which it is. And that is your proposed budget. Are there any questions? Yes.
I'm curious about the $12,000 for a audit service, given the lack of complexity in this budget. It seems to me that that's a more than substantial amount for any audit that we might expect to engage.
I can answer that if you wish, Laura.
Yes, please. Thank you, Amber.
So the estimate for $12,000 came from our audit firm, Grove, Mueller and Swank. That estimate is for what they call a short review. So it's not actually a full audit. Those run approximately $16,000 to $25,000, depending on the complexity of your organization. But they estimated between 8,000 and 12,000. We estimated to the higher side, not knowing if you would have additional funding sources, grant sources, other things that could create complexity to your process, in order to make sure there was enough room to pay for that. I would say, in my experience, it might come in a little bit under the 12 if you don't have anything new going on beyond this budget this year.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're estimating on the conservative side. I appreciate that. But still, $12,000 seems to be more than ample for what we're going to be involved in terms of our financial transactions over the year. And I just assume if we get there, and if what I assume is correct, that budget or that audit cost could be reduced. Either that, or perhaps we should look for an alternate in terms of a vendor.
You will certainly have the opportunity to select an auditor. You're not tied to the auditor that the COG uses. That process would require going out through a request for proposals, so going out to public bid. Otherwise, COG has to wrap you guys into our audit billing process as a part of our processes, and that's how we would use the same audit firm. Historically, we have had a similar agency, the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, do a short audit, and theirs was about $9,000. They're becoming a little more complex than you are with grant money, and I expect that to go up this year, but you are certainly not tied to COGS auditors for service. And of course, anything that you don't spend just becomes a part of what gets rolled over to your next year's budget.
Yeah, I understand that, and I appreciate it. I guess my follow-up comment is that if we get close to meeting the guidelines or the estimated expenses in this budget, we need to supercharge our effort to harvest additional grants, or we won't have enough money to be financially stable over our following fiscal period.
Danny, I think that's a good point, because when we initially viewed this contract, we viewed it as a 3-year element when we were pushing out the expenses over time. So you're right. Question about reserves, is that an unappropriated ending fund balance in Oregon budget law? Is that just a reserve?
It is the equivalent of your unappropriated ending fund balance.
Do you see the 22,000? It's consistent with our fiscal policies, but do you see that as high relative to our current fiscal position?
No, in any regular governmental activity, you expect to try to reserve 3 months worth of operating funds for the next year. And that's generally speaking because of the way that most organizations work. You're trying to get yourself through from the beginning of the fiscal year in July until late October, early November, when you start seeing tax payments come in. Now, because you're not a taxing authority and you're not seeing tax payments, what that tells you is that you're reserving 3 months worth, and then you'll have your unappropriated balance as well, which will get you further. It may not get you to the end of next year, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, again, I appreciate the efforts, and I always like things to be estimated on the conservative side. But the only thing that we have done so far to try and initiate grant activities is a $5,000 Ford grant, and that's been going on literally for about a year. $5,000 won't see us through for a month. So our activities at the board level and with our assistants at COG, as I said a few moments ago, really needed to be ratcheted up strongly in the near term if we're going, because most of the grants that I've worked with can take several months, if not close to a year, in order to mature and actually create a harvesting opportunity.
Other comments from members of the committee? Since the screen is shared, I can't see my, my
Oh.
agenda.
Just,
I'll
just
stop
like,
sharing.
just one comment, who would take the lead as far as initiating grants?
That is in the COGS contract to do.
Okay. So you could identify somebody there who would be a lead person on that?
Yes.
Is there someone besides Silas involved in that activity, Laura?
Yes, Scott and I are actively involved with that.
Great, thank you.
And this is not the appropriate time, but if I'm making a note that the board would like an update about that, and I can provide that at the July meeting.
Since the budget has been proposed, I will open the floor for public comment at 12:24 p.m. This is the time for any member of the public to speak for or against any item presented in the budget. And that's not our public members on the committee. That's the general public who might be watching this. Who I don't think we have anyone. Do we have anyone? Okay. So having so opened, I will now close the public comment time at 1:24:30. And at this time, open deliberations for the committee. Once deliberations are done, I'll call for a motion to approve the proposed budget and recommend it to the NSSA board for adoption will be taken. So committee members who would like to make a comment? I think we did this a little bit earlier, so some of our comments have been recorded. So I will, using a Robert's rule term, call the question on that. Is there anybody who would make a motion to recommend the proposed budget to the NSSA board for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mayor Kirsch, seconded by Commissioner Nielsen from Detroit. Can we please have a call for the vote? I'll do that since we don't have a secretary here.
Thank you.
Denny Nielsen,
Aye.
Molly Richardson,
Aye.
Laura Harris,
Aye.
Tracy Boland,
Aye.
Tim Kirsch,
Aye.
Ron Evans,
Aye.
and I also vote aye. Unanimous vote. There is no opposition. So we will take the proposed budget to the next NSSA board meeting in 2 weeks, the end of this month, for final adoption by the board. Would anyone like to make a closing comment?
I want to thank all the community volunteers who stepped up to participate in this. It is essential that we have folks outside of our own board and committee so that they can help spread the word of all the good stuff we're doing, as well as keep an eye on making sure we're doing things appropriately. Thank you, everybody.
You're here.
Yes.
All right. That being said, I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you all for participating. Thank you, Laura, for your hard work, and Amber for your hard work. And we look forward to seeing the finalized budget at our next board meeting. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back at you.